From the Opubco Studios at Britain and Broadway, you're listening to a News OK podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the News OK Comics Podcast. I'm Matt Price. I'm here with Kyle Roberts. And we've got an exciting week for you this week with the two main X-Men books are coming out. So we're going to cover those as well as the latest part of New Krypton. That's Supergirl 35, written by University of Oklahoma graduate Sterling Gates. Yep. And he throws in a little shout out to Oklahoma in this week's issue. First page, Kryptonians fly over Pauls Valley, Oklahoma. So if you want to see some local horses and cows and farmers in this issue.
And some action figures.
Yeah.
In actual Pauls Valley.
In actual Pauls Valley, yeah.
I'm sure you could see some horses and cows in actual Pauls Valley as well.
That's true. This is a pretty good issue. Sterling Gates has a lot he's got to kind of get done in this issue. He's got to continue the storylines he set up in his first issue with Supergirl's secret identity, her friendship with Lana Lang, the stuff at the Daily Planet, as well as advance the New Krypton storyline in which Supergirl's parents have come back. We've got the government tracking the Kryptonians, and you also are dealing with a lot of questions about Supergirl's origin and some of the contradictory things that happened in previous issues of the series. He manages to get all that into one issue. I think it's jam-packed. I think maybe on first read, people aren't going to follow everything that's happening here. I don't think they're going to understand that each thing here seems to be leading to a larger event. But if you look at it in the scope of building the Supergirl mythos and advancing the New Krypton storyline, I think it works really well as an issue. Jamal Igle continues to be a great, underrated artist, and I think he and Gates are really going to put together a nice run on this title. So I enjoyed this quite a bit, and it's of particular interest for Oklahoma readers.
Sweet. All right, next one, Uncanny X-Men 504.
Right. Matt Fraction is now the solo writer on the title, and Terry Dodson steps in for Greg Land, providing the art.
Yep, and we've been following this through the story. X-Men head to San Francisco, and there's kind of mutant hate crimes. This doesn't focus so much on that.
Right.
There's two main things going on. A little bit of Colossus, so if you're a Colossus fan, you'll enjoy this book and pick it up. And then also Emma Frost is kind of not really invading Cyclops' letter, but she's entering Cyclops' mind and kind of doing her thing around his world. Right.
Well, as we found out, I believe in the last issue, Madeline Pryor, Cyclops' ex-wife, appears to be alive. He's keeping this a secret from him so far, but she thinks he's hiding something, so she goes looking around in his mind. Also going on in this issue is, I thought the best part of the issue was the Colossus scenes, in which Colossus is dealing with the death of Kitty Pryde at the end of Astonishing X-Men. He's having trouble letting go of that. In fact, other of the X-Men mentioned he's in his armored form all the time. He's not really letting himself be Peter. He's always being Colossus. So that, for me, was the best part of the issue, some of the work on the Colossus character. It did, we mentioned this a little bit earlier talking, it felt a little bit like a filler issue, even though it's the beginning of a new story arc.
Yeah.
So, some nice stuff with Colossus. Maybe it doesn't feel as essential as some of the previous issues, but
maybe kind of in-betweener.
But nicely done. Maybe change your pace issue. You can't have every issue be the end of the world. So, meanwhile, if you're more of a Logan or Professor X fan, they are moving through the crossover Original Sin, which is in Wolverine Origins and X-Men Legacy. And that's where we find Part 4 in X-Men Legacy 218. Yes, 218.
Yep. Throughout this, they've been trying to kind of get Sudeikis, maybe try to tame him a little bit, as Wolverine has, and Wolverine would like Professor X to kind of help him out as Professor X did to Wolverine.
Right.
Kind of helped him through this. And that's kind of basically what's going on. And throughout this whole series, they're kind of revisiting some of Wolverine and Professor X's past.
Right.
That's kind of what's going on,
right? And they're planning their rescue on Sebastian Shaw's compound. I don't really understand Mistress Sinister. I'm not sure Mr. Sinister's daughter, his reincarnation, just someone who likes to dress up like him and not wear any clothes. I'm not really sure. I maybe have missed something somewhere, but she seems like a pretty rough customer. She is leaving a trap for Professor X in this issue. So
a telepath.
Right. So, pretty action-packed, right? I mean, Scott Eaton does the art. He reminds me a little bit of John Byrne, who is maybe the quintessential X-Men artist. So, having him draw an issue of X-Men seems appropriate to me. And I thought you got some good Wolverine action.
Oh, yeah.
As he takes on some of the guards and other sentries here at this club, while Professor X is left to deal with Mistress Sinister.
Yep.
So, I would say an above average week. My favorite, probably Supergirl. Gotta love a comic with an Oklahoma connection. Also enjoyed X-Men Legacy, some of the action there.
But yeah, I'll say Legacy, Original Sin, number 4.
All right, very good. Well, for Kyle Roberts, I am Matt Price. Thanks for watching.
Let's see it.